Living in Florida, where hurricanes are a common occurrence, I have learned from many of those experiences. Needless to say, these storms bring power outages and therefore the loss of perfectly good food. I'm going to show you how to pack a freezer. This is a small freezer. It's not very big because it fits here. And the reason I have it sideways like this is because you have to make sure that the vents are out. If not, it's going to get damaged. So I can't have it back here because it won't fit there. So I had to turn it this way, but I'm fine with that. So I have to defrost. Is not ideal. You do not want this because it's taking up a lot of space. I want to make sure that I have a block of ice, and that's going to maintain my freezer for days. This is just water inside this fruit container. You can use a milk container. A big giant block is what you want. Then I also want bottles of water bunched up against this. You can also use bottles like this that have already been emptied, and you can put these around, so it's just going to keep everything nice and cold. I have several here. Freeze them with water as well, and I'm going to keep those in there. This is going to keep my freezer nice and compacted and cold if the electricity goes out. And this whole section here is just blocks because that's going to maintain my freezer super cold. You want your freezer to be full to the top. If you have this kind of dead space, you need to fill it with something. Either put more food in there or just fill it with bottles. And that's what I do here. I have like all of these bottles. Now the reason I want to keep this like this is because I have food in my freezer down here, and if the electricity went out, I've got to move this food in here. But that's the stuff I'm going to use during the week, but I have to get it in here. So this is why I leave space in here, so that fridge stuff can go in here in an outage, because the only thing that I'm going to run off of my solar system is going to be this freezer, not my refrigerator. And my refrigerator is not going to be on, and everything that's in my refrigerator is going to go inside of my RV refrigerator, which runs off of propane. So you can see I can also use a cooler and use some of this for putting some items in a cooler if I needed to as well. So that's why you want to leave space but not empty. You want to have bottles in order to keep this nice and cold. Keep the space covered because you don't want any gaps for the cold to come out. So I like these, they sell these at Walmart. I keep them when I use my cooler to go camping. I buy these. So this is a nice way to also make sure that there's no air pockets where the cold comes out, and this is going to maintain it nice and cold. I like this on the outside because if I get hurt, I don't have to go digging for this. I like this to be on the top because I can use this, just reach in here really quick, and this way nothing gets defrosted because I just reach in for an emergency thing like this. And that's in case I got a bump or a bruise, or I got a headache or something where I need to cold pack. This would run off of my solar system or my generator if I needed to. This big fridge would be totally off, and all of the stuff that's here, which is not a lot because most of this refrigerator right now, I'll show you what's here. It's just a couple of things that I have that I can cook. I can give to my pets. This stuff can go in the other refrigerator. These are all empty water bottles that I also have in here because I want this fridge to be cold as well in the case of an outage. A lot of this stuff I can dehydrate or I can ferment before this goes bad. So you have to be on top of your items when there's an outage. You're gonna have to work, and that's why you have to make simple meals so that you can get work done during an outage. So it's been about 3 hours since I started this, and it's still cold in here. What I did was I took a butter knife and I just tapped it, and these everything that was attached here that I wanted to remove came off. So I'm just picking it up here, putting it into this and cleaning up the bottom. Get this back to running up again before it gets warm because it's still nice and cold, and that will save a lot of money on energy getting it back to temperature while it's still pretty cold. Now I'm going to go ahead, now that I've picked up all of the ice, I'm going to grab a rag and try to wipe this down and get the remainder of the ice. I don't want to refreeze this with ice on the bottom. As you can see, I wiped it down. I got rid of all of the ice. Now I'm going to turn this back on but I'm not going to put anything in there right now. But I'm going to wait a few minutes. I'm going to wait probably about 20 minutes to make sure that what I wipe down is dry. I don't want to turn this on because if there's still humidity and wetness, it's going to turn to ice. So I'm going to make sure that this is nice and dry. It's still feeling wet because I just wiped it down with water to clean it and vinegar. Now, when you clean the seals like I did, my seals were filthy. They're still a little dirty, but I have to get in there. You're going to clean the seals with vinegar and water. You're not going to clean this with bleach because the bleach is going to eat up at your rubber. And this is your insulation here. It's going to keep this nice and tight, and you don't want to damage this. So after that, once we turn this on, I'm going to put a lot of the water bottles that I put in here that are still freezing cold. I'm going to put them in the bottom because what happens if there's a blackout and things start to defrost after a day or two, there's going to be liquid in here, and you don't want any food down there when all of the meat is you know, expelling liquid. So you want to have water bottles because the water bottles will raise up any kind of bags or anything that you have and keep them so that you can use them and not have them covered in who knows what kind of meat water that's going to be in there, and keep it sanitary for you. So that's the next process that we're going to do. So we'll come back in a few minutes and I'll show you what I'm doing. Because it's in the low 80s, I decided to put this outside so it'll melt and I can just use this to water plants later once this is defrosted. But I wanted to put it out here and see if the chickens were going to peck at it, because they came over to it. They were pretty curious, but I don't think they're interested in it at all. Let's see what Missy does. Found a piece of meat there. I don't want her to eat that, so I'm gonna cover that up because I do not want her pecking on that old meat that's there. It's like a chicken bone or something. She does like looking nice though. Chickens are just watching her.
You like the cold ice? Like the cold ice?
The freezer is nice and cold, and I'm gonna plug it back in. I put all of these frozen water bottles. You can see these are frozen. And then these I like because they're square and they fit up here really nicely. So when I put things up here, I have frozen. So if things defrost, there's going to be water. And I want to lift the things off of the bottom. And the same thing here. I mean, eventually it'll start running down that way from here, but this will also keep it very cold up here. And I like these because these are reused. They're square and they fit nice and comfy down here. Okay, so then now we're going to start packing the freezer. Okay, first thing is I'm going to actually turn it on. You can hear it's on right now. So it's going to go on for a little while, and then I'm going to start packing the freezer. I put some stuff in overnight. I had the bottles. I put one of those containers on the bottom with the meat and the extra chicken that I have in there. And then I have that ice. This is just like blocked ice. Now I buy these and I travel with these. I'm going to keep this down here to separate that bottom layer. You can see I also have water bottles in between because if there's a blackout, I also want my food to stay as cold as possible in here. I like these because they're a little bit more flexible. If you want them to be more flexible, don't use this because they will collapse slightly. You can still have things organized in there, but it's nice to have this in here if you needed it to. I have one way in the bottom that's a little bit more flexible than this one. So you could put another layer of food in here and then just lift this up when you want to get to the bottom ones. These seem to be better. This is all I have because I do have to go shopping. I do have this brick of water inside this juice container. This is also going to keep my food cold. So when I buy, I'm going to end up putting meat in here, meat in here. In the meantime, I have all of these ice packs as well that I will use up when I bring the next meat shopping day. I will put these in between as well. This is also full of water. I have some of these ice packs. Some of them I just keep up here because when I travel in my RV, go camping, I do use those. And I also use these as well. So I will keep that there. And then I will also put another one here to keep everything nice and cold. And then of course, I live in the country, so I like to keep a bag for trash, for things that I gotta throw out. Like, you know, when you buy the meat trays, they come with that packaging. I can't put it in my trash because I don't go out every 2 weeks, so I have to freeze it and then bring it to the trash. So I'll put the trash in here. Just wanted to show you in my refrigerator, I have in here the stuff that I am going to use for my general cooking. Everything that's in the freezer is extra stuff or things that I get on sale that I'm shopping for. I do have some frozen strawberries. This week when I go there, I plan on getting some other frozen fruit for smoothies, and I'll end up probably tucking it in here. If you like this video and you learned anything from it, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. God bless. Hey, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.